All right, good to be back in your life. Sunday, July 10th, 2022. It's episode 356 of the Anik and Florian podcast, starring former three-time UFC title challenger Kenny Florian. You know, they say you're not supposed to have aspartame for more reasons than one. Like, Ken Flo hasn't had aspartame in a long time, right? I went for a run this morning. I had some Diet Coke, and it messes with your voice. So I only drink coffee and tea. Very rarely will I have a Monster Energy drink on fight night if I really need it. But we banged some aspartame this morning, Ken Flo, and we're paying the price.
I had never heard that about the voice, kid. That's crazy.
I know. Citrus and aspartame, both very bad. People think, oh, yeah, hot water with lemon. No citrus on fight night for commentators out there. Yeah. But it is good to be back with everybody. What have you been doing? You've been shooting guns, doing all sorts of tactical training, just becoming like a more lethal human weapon in your spare time. Is that what you've been doing? Basically.
Well, the thing is, I'm getting older. All right, so my back isn't as good as it used to be, and I just enjoy doing that stuff. Like, I get obsessed with certain things, and then when I get into it, like I need to be doing it or thinking about it all the time. Right. So like I'm trying to get better, learning a lot, and having some fun. I shout out to my guy Scott Jelinski, the Jedi, red dot expert. He was an amazing coach. So learned a lot last week. Yeah.
Good stuff. Speaking of your age, in terms of competitive jiu-jitsu, you got that little gym in your house, so to speak, right now with the padded walls and everything else. Those, Jones in to see you back on the competitive jiu-jitsu circuit, they should not hold their breath. Is that the deal?
Yeah. So, my back's been bad for a while, but there's no rhyme or reason of what sets it off. Like, I haven't been able to train more than 2 or 3 times a week in a long time, dude. Like, I don't get it. I'll do all the things I'm supposed to be doing, and my back just like turns to garbage. So, got to figure something out. I'm thinking about maybe some stem cell or something for my back.
Yeah.
And my hip and my knee and probably something else. But anyways, yeah, I'm deteriorating, John. That's the short story. Yeah.
No, Buffer said to me a couple weeks ago, he's like, hey man, every decision you make right now, you're going to pay for in 20 years. And I'm like, whoa, bro, I'm just trying to go for a fucking walk in Singapore before the pay-per-view, But obviously Buff takes great care of himself. I think for a lot of us, we work hard, we play hard, right? And I guess I should just leave it at that.
Bruce still doing splits, John, I think.
Oh, all sorts of stuff. I mean, you should see his warm-up before he announces.
He's a beast.
Just stay out of his range, His distance management isn't so good with his kicks and his pre-fight routine.
He'll slap you in the face with his foot. There's no question about it.
There's no doubt about it. If I was an athlete and I didn't want to give him a fist bump, I'd probably just give him like the token fist bump, get this lunatic out of my face. He's screaming. Veins coming out of his neck. Anik and Florian podcast today brought to you in part by UFC Fight Pass. See the best UFC Fight Pass has to offer on the Fight Pass 24/7 stream, offering a constant channel of historic fight action all day, all night. Tune in, sit back, and enjoy a network created by fans for fans. Step into our world at UFCFightPass.com. All right, headlines today will focus on UFC Fight Night, which just evaporated a few hours ago. It was UFC Fight Night, Dos Anjos versus Fiziev at the old UFC Apex. Always interesting when you go from bells and whistles at T-Mobile Arena, 30-foot octagon, back to the 25-footer at the UFC Apex. Really good main event, really good performance for Rafael Fiziev. Gets the knockout of Rafael Dos Anjos at 18 seconds of round 5. It came after RDA had a particularly strong round 4 after Fiziev really had controlled most of the action up until that point. Plus 150 for those who had Fiziev by knockout, TKO, or DQ. Your thoughts on the lightweight main event just a few short hours ago, my man?
We know a lot more about Rafael Fiziev than we did before. This was the fight that I was kind of most looking forward to see what's this guy all about? Is he the real deal? And beating someone like a Rafael Dos Anjos, it certainly answers that question for me. And I think Dos Anjos obviously has been in a lot of fights. He's got some wear and tear, perhaps not as fast or doesn't have the reaction time that he used to. I see slight deterioration in that regard, but he's still a phenomenal fighter who is dangerous in a lot of different ways. And the fact that Fiziev was able to stop the majority of those takedowns, find a way to not get positionally dominated on the ground. The fact that he was outstriking Dos Anjos for the majority of that fight, and I thought actually fought smarter than Dos Anjos as well, says a lot about his potential trajectory in the UFC. I think he's a guy that I would feel pretty good about getting behind. And I think that he's a guy that is going to continue to rise and beat a lot of guys in that very difficult division in the UFC.
Seemed like the narrative on broadcast at the beginning of the 5th round was of an exhausted Fiziev and a fresher Rafael dos Anjos. And I just have to say about RDA, I'm not going to get into the whole resting heart rate stuff, but he seemed fresh as a daisy to begin round 5, despite just absorbing a lot of kicks, a lot to the body. I just marvel at his toughness and his ability to sort of sustain at this stage of what I believe is a Hall of Fame career. And, he was in the fight going into the 5th round. Obviously, he has a wealth of 5-round experience. This was his 11th UFC main event. But Rafael Fiziev obviously was not cooked. Obviously, he was urgent at the beginning of round 5, and he went for it. I did think it was kind of an early stoppage. My man, Mark Smith, will let Chase Sherman practically kill Jared Vanderaa earlier in the night. Mark, I think you're outstanding if you are listening. But, letting the heavyweights, really go at it. And then I thought Rafael dos Anjos maybe deserved a beat or so more. I guess it's neither here nor there. I don't know. I have a lot of respect for RDA and a healthy respect for Rafael Fiziev, of course, with a huge win, biggest of his career.
I think that's fair. I would have liked to seen, Mark allow RDA to try to get back into it. I think that he was certainly hurt. It was a beautiful shot, a left hook that went up and over that lead right hand of dos Anjos, the southpaw. And it was a shot that Fiziev was actually kind of landing throughout that fight intermittently. And that one ultimately just crushed dos Anjos. And yeah, I don't think he was completely out. He was trying to fight back. He was trying to do stuff. It was a little bit early for me, but Fiziev had him in trouble. Absolutely. But, to go back to your point about the Chase Sherman Vanderaa fight. Yeah, I mean, that he certainly had a lot of leeway at that. And those are heavyweights that are landing devastating shots. These are just lightweights. But so I would have liked to seen some consistency there as well.
I mean, it's like Yves Levine in UFC 73 with Ken Flo and Alvin Robinson. They're on the ground for 2 seconds. Hey, it is what it is. Obviously, it was a clean shot. And, I'm sure dos Anjos, as classy as ever, probably didn't even protest it. But, I watched the entire card last night before going to bed. And then I woke up today and watched the main event. So it was fresh in my mind, sort of the juxtaposition between how those two situations were handled. All right. The Minutemen were out last week. Obviously, there was no Ray Longo Minute. He was at a wedding. We did the show late Sunday night, but we have Ray at the top of the show this week, and we are very, very privileged to be joined by the longtime trainer to the stars. He of Extra Rounds fame.
Oh, man.
My goodness gracious. Look at your coloration today. I mean, you look black. You look great. You do look great.
Well, I mean, don't say anything.
We got to get the rest of your hair in the shot.
Oh yeah,
come on.
Where are we?
There we go.
That
looks beautiful.
It is amazing how gracefully you are aging. I mean,
I
live in Florida. I live in Florida. I exercise outside most every day, and you're like 50 shades of gray. I mean, you look 50 shades darker than I do.
Yeah, I'm telling you. First off, I don't sit out in the sun for that long.
Right.
But I've been riding the bike, for like an hour and a half. So, and then some of those days are sunny. So I think that's what's happening.
We look like we're on a podium right now.
But I mean, even like the first 20 minutes in the sun of the season, I just brown quick. Yeah. I don't know what to say, but
heaven forbid I talk about your appearance. We should get right back to Rafael Fiziev.
No, let me tell you something. But golden years, go fuck you. There's nothing. What golden what? This is horrible, Ken Flo. Don't get old. That's my advice to you guys.
Are you going to be one of those guys who has like black hair in his 80s? Like you don't dye that?
I don't dye. Definitely don't dye it. No,
that is nuts, man. Fucking nuts. I have a white whipple.
Well, no. When I see you this week, you'll see there's a lot of grays in there. You just can't see them.
I'm really excited to see you.
Oh man, it's going to be somewhere. When are you getting in?
Early. I'm coming early Wednesday, and I'm going to be there a long time. We get off the air at 5 p.m. on Saturday. So
shoot.
I was thinking, we'll see what your weekend holds.
Oh,
I don't
I'm open. Business, I'm open for you, buddy.
And
that's
we could even do a podcast and a dinner potentially on Saturday night. I mean,
wow, Ken Flo. You coming down? You flying down?
I wish.
You know how much shit this guy has going on that, I mean,
come on,
tactical training and robot fights in the PFL and 2 children
Oh
and
my
vacations
gosh.
in South Carolina. I mean, no, he's not.
Life
I mean,
is
Ken
good.
Flo,
Life is good for Ken Flo. That's great.
what are you doing this weekend, Ken Flo? Be honest with us. He probably could come. He probably could fucking come. I'd have to call Clark.
He's at the country club.
This weekend, no, I'm just here with the family. I'm just hanging out. I'm hanging out by the beach with the family. So
By the beach.
yeah.
God. I tell you, the good old days.